As the manager of a local movie theater, Doris wants to make improvements to the concession counter. As part of this initiative, she wants to gather information about how the concession counter is being used by the theater's patrons. One of the sets of data Doris acquires is a random sample of 100 transaction amounts done at the concession counter during the week. Looking at the data, this is what the manager sees. Doris quickly realizes that making use of this information is going to be difficult. Glancing over it, she thinks it would be useful to have some idea about what amounts were common in the transactions made at the counter, along with what amounts were uncommon. How could Doris arrange this data to be more helpful to her? With very little work, the manager could turn the 100 amounts in the table above into this. This graph is a type of bar graph called a histogram, and it can make things much easier for Doris to find useful information in the set of data she acquired. For instance, by looking at the histogram, can you tell what amounts are the most uncommon? That would be the group of transactions between $21 and $24, represented by the short rectangle on the far right. By comparing the height of that rectangle with the vertical axis on the left, we can see that it looks like only one transaction recorded out of the 100 was in the amount of $21 to $24. According to the histogram, what are the most common transaction amounts? The rectangles for $3 to $6 and $6 to $9 both reach up high to about 27, meaning that 54 out of 100 transactions were for amounts between $3 and $9. Suppose Doris wanted to quickly get an estimate for how many of the transactions were for amounts above $15. Can you see how the histogram would be very helpful in providing her with this information? She would simply add the 5 from the $15 to $18 category to the 2 from the $18 to $21 category and the 1 from the $21 to $24 category and get a total of 8 transactions out of the 100. By adding the heights of the 3 tallest rectangles to on the histogram, Doris could quickly see that 77 of the 100 transactions were for amounts between $3 and $12. And by looking at the height of the first rectangle, she could see that only 8 out of the 100 transactions were for an amount less than $3. How might this information be useful to Doris? One way it might be helpful is in determining what kinds of bills to keep on hand in the drawers of the cash registers at the concession counter. Depending upon when the 100 transactions occurred, Doris might request another group of similar data from a different time or when a different movie was playing to determine how different kinds of movie attractions influence sales at the concession counter. Finding that kind of information from a table like the one Doris started with would be very difficult. This is the power of statistical graphs, including histograms. They allow us to see very quickly important characteristics of the data we use. They help us make sense of a lot of complicated information so that decisions we need to make can be made quickly and accurately. For someone like Doris, knowing how to make a histogram can help her make better decisions that affect her theater's business. In this tutorial, you will be taught the process of creating a histogram by hand, even though for most applications the process would be handled by a computer spreadsheet program, such as Microsoft Excel. Knowing this process will allow you to better work with data you have to see and to display its important characteristics.